I'm here with Trinity Jordan. Trinity is a church planner out of Utah who just came out with a book, is coming out with a book soon, Jesus Never Said to Plant Churches. And I wanted Trinity just to talk to us a little bit about just kind of where this book came out of in your heart and what the experience that led you to write this book.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, I'm a church planner,
right.
And go through all the stuff that every church planner does, the boot camps, the training, and pretty much, I think maybe not for everybody, but at least for me, when I walked in, I had the wrong mentality. I mean, I was following God, but I had the wrong kind of focus on methods, really, than the whole reason. And it's always been about disciples. And I don't know, it just seems like the epidemic that I'm seeing within church planning is a lot of people are getting focused on the wrong things.
Right.
And, I've been a part of planting churches, but training church planners and coaching church planners. And so this kind of book was almost like my legacy maybe to church planning. Just if there's anything I can hand off to any other church planner and say, like, I've made so many mistakes. I've done so many things wrong. Like, you can do a lot better because you're going to learn from my dumb mistakes. You're going to learn from my messed up methods. And
what was the biggest mistake? I mean, what's something? I mean, either you talk about in the book or not. But what's the mistake that you made that you would go?
I don't know if any of them was like the biggest mistake.
They were just all big.
They were all big. It's just messy.
Yeah.
There are things like the fact that I walked into it and was expecting crowds.
Right.
And the biggest thing was, I should have been making disciples that were making disciples.
Yeah.
And, that was a mistake. I mean, day one, we had 187 people show up. Day one to our church plant, to this movie theater.
Right.
And I was deflated.
Wow.
And
that's a pretty good crowd. So you just had your expectations set.
I thought it was a failure. I thought like I was the worst church planner in the world.
Yeah.
And I thought like I'd failed. And so, I mean, there's things like that to the fact that I never thought through how does someone become a leader in this church that I'm planting.
Yeah.
Like how do we grow leaders? How do we decide who's a leader? Do we just go, hey, you're a leader? And in a normal church, that's already set up.
Yeah.
Not in a normal church, but just, existing.
One that's existing and been around, yeah. So the title is definitely unique. Jesus never said to plant churches. I mean, I think probably that's grabbing my attention. Talk about the title and what that, where that came from. And do you talk about the title in the book, I'm assuming?
A little bit. It's just the fact that Jesus told us to make disciples.
Right.
And so what did he tell us to do? And so can we get back to that in church planting? Can we get back to what he told us to do? Because if we do those things, then we are going to see crowds. We are going to see. But it's going to be because we're making disciples, not because we're attracting people from this Burger King to that McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
We're not trying to sell a better burger and get somebody. We're trying to lead people that don't know Jesus into a relationship with Jesus and then grow them spiritually. I think I talk about it in the book that we have the potential to become 2 miles wide and 2 inches deep if we're not careful.
Yeah, because you got a great show somehow, but no disciples are being made.
Exactly. And I mean, there's nothing bad about our boot camps. I mean, I'm one of the teachers in there, but it's just, I think we come in and we run in and make sure we train them so well that if you just walked away with just the training and just focused on that, you could end up doing things wrong.
Yeah.
And it's not because the training's bad. It's because we're assuming that everybody that walks into the boot camps, we're assuming that everybody that walks into our training, we're assuming that everybody that goes through the seminary classes and Bible study or Bible college classes, we're assuming that they have the biblical foundation to know why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I thought I had it, and I was wrong. And then did other little things like, there's a whole section in there like naming your church.
Yeah.
Like, how do you pick a good name for your church? What is a good name? What should you look for? And those are just the things I've learned from helping, a little over 200 church plants across the country.
Man, that's amazing.
So,
well, tell us. So, there's someone in our audience watching this right now might be thinking about planting a church, or it might be deep in their mind. They've never told anyone because then they're going to be on a line for it. But they're watching this and they're thinking about planting a church someday. What would you tell them the next steps? What's the best way to kind of investigate that or find out more or kind of do more with that thought? What
I think the very first thing, and it's actually chapter 1, it's if you can see yourself doing anything other than planting a church, go do that.
Yeah.
Put the book down, stop reading church planting books, and move on. go do it, because it'll be the hardest thing you've ever done,
Yeah.
most stressful thing you've ever done. The biggest spiritual attacks you'll ever have in your life are going to come from this. It is. I had this friend that would always, he was a single guy, he was in his 30s, a phenomenal friend of mine, and he would always say, like, hey, how did you know when your wife was the one? How did you know you were supposed to marry her?
Yeah.
He would ask, and then, like, everybody he would meet, he would ask that question to him, like, how did you know she was the one? And I would always, like, try to tell this guy, Steve, and finally I was like, Steve, you'll just know. And I think that's the first start, is you'll know if you're called upon the church. Like, you're going to know from God.
Yeah.
That's step one.
Yep.
And know that you know that you know.
Yeah, it's great, man.
So,
hey, thanks so much for your time today. And Jesus never said to plant churches. Expect it early this next year. You're going to want to pick it up. It's a great book, Trinity Jordan. Thanks for being here, man.
thanks, Justin. Appreciate it.